What do we need to see from the quarterbacks the Broncos are interviewing at the scouting combine? OBT2, it is more relaxed, cautionary for everyone out there. But Mace, I just don't want him to reach. And when I talk to, and I won't spoil it for anybody, but I did talk to Dane Brugler today. And Dane, who I consider the best draft analyst in the country, does not have a first-round grade on J.J. McCarthy.
Which is interesting. That doesn't mean he's not going to go in the first round. There's a
Exactly.
QB premium.
Right.
And I think it would be interesting to look back at Dane's grades and see how much the QB premium came into play. That if he had a second round grade, does the premium then mean that the quarterback likely goes in the first round?
Right.
There is a known QB premium on trades. I wrote about this a few years ago. I'd have to go back and do and go back to my research, and maybe it's worth revisiting. But there's a known QB premium in terms of trades, in terms of value you have to give up, which is something that could become very relevant to what the Broncos are trying to do, especially if they are not the only team looking to move up. And I do not believe they will be the only team in that 8 to mid-teens range that is looking to go up and position themselves for a quarterback. I think Minnesota will be in that mix. I think Atlanta will be in that mix as well.
Right.
Possibly the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah.
As well.
So,
there's going to be competition.
speaking of competition, the Broncos are talking to every quarterback. How many
that
quarterbacks do we know about right now?
Okay, well, the latest ones came from Mike Kliss of 9 News.
Hashtag 9 Sports.
Yes. So, here's who we know the Broncos are having formal interviews with, okay? Caleb Williams, Jayden Daniels, Drake Maye, Bo Nix, J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix Jr., Michael Pratt, Spencer Rattler. That's 8 quarterbacks. Now, you're only allowed 45 formal interviews. It was 60 for a while, went to 45 4 years ago. So you've got 18% of your interviews on a position that represents usually, if you have 3 quarterbacks, it represents 6% of your roster. If you have 2 quarterbacks, it represents 4% of your roster.
Right.
If, again, always say, focus on what they do, not what they say. Now, part of what they're doing, as we talked about earlier, is they're playing CYA, okay? In case you can't get a quarterback, or in case the process of the next several weeks means you don't get past with a top quarterback, then yes, that's why you're sitting down with Jared Verse, why you're sitting down with Terry and Arnold, why you're having a formal interview with Brock Bowers, why you're going to have formal interviews with a bunch of tackles coming up, okay? But when you see that much devoted to the quarterback position, effectively the top 8 quarterbacks all having formal interviews with the Broncos, that tells you right there what their intent is. And, and there's some interesting aspects to this because they plan on having more conversations and more meetings. And the plan is be a presence at pro days, take them out to dinner at some point, have one-on-one workouts at a training facility or at the college. And I imagine we'll see the final piece will be which ones come in for top 30 visits.
In a way, the combine is like speed dating, where you're sitting around, you're like, okay, but then I want to take you out again, which means pro day.
But this is the 3rd time they've been out with Michael Pratt.
So
because they had 2
he's saying
sit downs with him
they
in
like, and now
Mobile.
Moving on, does he continue to say that? But do they fall in love? And you mentioned the word like, I'll mention the word love and reach, because okay, J.J. McCarthy is not graded as a first-round quarterback by what I consider the best draft analyst in the game, and by myself. But he's going to go in the first round, and if the Broncos take him in the first round, I back the move because that means Sean Payton thinks he fits.
Yes.
And the fit is the most important thing. So reach is a conversation. Don't reach, and don't reach for someone that you like, but if you love them, then yeah, go get your guy.
But there's something else, like if they don't love a quarterback early. For a first-round pick, for number 12 overall, it's got to be Love. Because then there is the intent behind it. It is intentional that this is going to be your starting quarterback at some point. But you can do like on day 2. Now, you only have the third-round pick right now, but what if you've got what if you take 12 and you move down? George Payton did discuss moving down. Deep down,
I think he would prefer
to move down.
Yeah.
Well, but we know he's said this on record. He is the more darts philosophy.
Right.
More shots at the board. Sean Payton's philosophy is move up, sacrifice those darts to get your one target.
Because you feel good about the way that you throw darts.
Yeah.
More darts doesn't mean anything if you're missing the board. But if you have one dart and you feel confident you can hit a bullseye, throw that damn dart.
True. I mean, sometimes it works. Like third round in 2021, you turned one pick into 2, and you got Quinn Miners and Baron Browning. Miners is almost certainly getting a big-time long-term contract here in the next 12 months in the Broncos. Baron Browning, he's been good when he's been healthy, but that's the caveat on that. So, but still, I mean, so sometimes it can work. I'll say this for Sean Payton and the Saints' philosophy over the years, because there's a 16-year sample size. The Saints, I believe, were dead last in the league in total draft picks from 2006 to 2021, but their outcomes were much better than the Broncos over the long haul in terms of producing starters,
Pro Bowlers,
all pros.
Yep.
The Saints from 06 to 21 did so at a higher rate than the Broncos. And even though George Payton and the more darts philosophy has only been in play for the last, really a couple of drafts, because last year they moved up for Riley Moss, and that was very much
That's a Sean Payton
move.
Yeah.
So, you'd have to say that there's some logic with going up, even though I tend to believe, okay, you have more shots at the board, the better. But if, like in 2022, those shots at the board are the wrong shots, we were having the conversation again today about how Sam Howell fell all the way to the 5th round. I'd feel much better about the Broncos, at least short-term prospects, if one of those 2 4th-rounders in 2022 had been Sam Howell rather than Damari Mathis or any Wazirike, let alone when you will go back to the Rick Bowen, Isaiah Pacheco.
Yep, and Montreal, Washington. Yep. There you go. I like just stay on target, right?
You're too close.
Stay on target.
Loosen up.
That's what you should do.
It came from behind.
Poor Porkins, man. Porkins gets a raw deal.
Why'd they
barely fit in that X-Men.
Also, why did they give him the name Porkins? Isn't that cool?
I think George Lucas is a little cruel sometimes. Star Wars.
You had one X-Wing pilot who was, a little
portly.
little heftier,
Yeah,
right?
Some heft.
And you called him Porkins? Of course, then again, I mean, we were talking about this morning. George Lucas with absolutely excruciating racial tropes.
Yes.
In
Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace. I almost said Force Awakens, my bad. Phantom Menace. I mean, the accent.
It's not the 40s.
Oh
with Flash
my
Gordon.
God.
George,
come on.
Naming Porkins. But I name.
Poor Porkins.
I know. I name this show not Poor Porkins, but just don't reach. And we want to talk about what do you find? What are you looking for? Because for each one of these quarterbacks,
Looking for the
Mace,
plants of the Death Star. But that's okay.
yes, they were.
Yeah.
Many Bothans died for these plans.
Many drafts were wasted trying to. Many drafts died in the search for a quarterback.
So let's start with my number 1 quarterback, and just tell
Not
me what
who you expect it to be.
Exactly. Tell me what you need to hear if you're the Broncos from Jayden Daniels.
What you need to hear is a willingness to take teaching and a willingness to evolve over the long haul into a quarterback who operates first and foremost from the pocket. That there's an understanding that the way it worked for him in college, when he, you watch him, he is quickest to get out of the pocket, right? That you're gonna evolve here. This is that what you are now is not what it's going to look like in 2 or 3 years. And okay, that's where, and I'm not making a comp and an expectation of him reaching this level, but Patrick Mahomes learned.
It's a bold statement, Cotton.
Yes, but Patrick Mahomes learned from Andy Reid about operating from the pocket first. Because you looked at him at Texas Tech, and this was not somebody that you thought, based on the film, was going to be a pure pocket passer.
Right.
Now, while you have that mobility as a tool on your belt, and it's nice to have, Mahomes wins from the pocket first. And if Jayden Daniels expresses a willingness to operate that way, we know he checks off a lot of intelligence and character boxes. He checks off that teachability box to say, over time. It's not going to be overnight. If he's out, if you trade up for him and he's your starter in week 1, you know what? He's going to take off and run a bit more often.
Yes.
That's part of the equation of having success while he learns how to be more of a pocket first passer, right? But if he's willing to do that and take teaching, and the Broncos, I think, will probably have better intel on this than most teams will because of Sean Payton and his staff's connections with the LSU program. If you get that sense, then no reason other than a lack of capital. But yeah, you could fall in love.
Yeah, you could fall in love with Jayden Daniels. 90 explosive
Didn't
plays.
Selena once sing "I Could Fall in Love"?
I celebrate her entire catalog.
Yes, good for you.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's awesome.
But yeah, her brief foray into English language music before she was tragically
right.
gunned down.
Right.
No.
You need to listen to more rigatone, Mace. Anyway,
Okay.
90 explosive plays from Jayden Daniels.
That's the second time you brought that up today.
78 from Joe Burrow. And Jayden Daniels did it in, I believe, 2 fewer games.
Yeah, didn't
than
have the
Joe
national
Burrow
championship game or
in
the
his
SEC championship game to
right
work with.
in
yeah.
his historic best college football season ever for a quarterback or for a team, really.
The one that took him from a 4th round grade to a number 1 overall
Rocket.
grade.
Like a rocket. Jayden Daniels, you need to learn that. Okay. Caleb Williams, we need to learn that.
Skills are off the charts. I don't have as many concerns about the character demeanor as some of the, I think, BS concerns that are out there
Okay.
in some circles.
You know that teams do, though. The
Yes.
old school NFL does
Mhm.
not like guys that'll, be different in any way, whether
it's all
that's paint your
it's all on the
nails or
surface.
whatever.
It's all on the surface with Caleb.
It's surface level stuff, but the NFL's bothered by that stuff. Good or bad, that's just the way this league is.
Yeah. Well, okay. Now, what I would want to learn about is I'd want to learn a little bit about the mentality of coping with a situation like you had last year, where SC objectively had one of the worst defenses in FBS college football.
And if you don't score 60, you lose.
I believe it was 116. Right?
That's bad. That's
That's-
not good, Bob.
Oh, 1/16 of what? 129, I believe.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Okay. I want to learn about what he learned from that, and I want to learn about. And so that's where it starts for me.
I have one question for Caleb.
Okay.
Why didn't you talk after losses?
Yeah.
I think that's big.
I think some of that is bigger than him at the SC program, though.
Okay.
I think it's, remember, Lincoln Riley had some of this type of stuff going on in Oklahoma, right?
Yeah.
And then, this was I think it was bigger than Caleb. So I'd want to find out how much of that was his choice and how much of it was the program's choice. My guess is you're going to find that a lot of it's on the program.
Okay.
And Lincoln Riley being a control for that. Like the stuff like that, like restricting media access, I think to myself, man, if Lincoln Riley is ever in the NFL, it's going to be a rough go for him.
Exactly.
You got what I mean?
Welcome to the party, pal.
Yeah. It would be kind of fun to watch Lincoln Riley try to operate in an NFL environment where the players have to talk at least once a week.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, twice, because they're available after games, too. And you can only manipulate it but so much. And you've got...
Yeah, I don't think you'd like it.
I mean, you've got people like Jeff Legwold and myself that are sometimes kind of timing and keeping track of things to make sure everything's copacetic on that, so.
Yeah, got to make it happen.
Yeah, Lincoln Riley would hate me if he were an NFL coach.
He'll be all right.
Yeah.
What about Drake Maye? Perceived to be falling. Is that real? But most importantly, if you're the Denver Broncos, what do you want to learn from Drake Maye in these interviews?
I'd actually go to the film. I'd want to look at some of the bad decisions that he made.
What are you thinking here?
Okay. Yeah. Like I'm thinking of a couple of throws against it when they got upset by UVA that come to mind. Like, dude, what are you doing? What was your thought? What was your thought process here? But I'm taking it and I'm putting a positive spin on it. I'm not, first of all, maybe some of it's what are you doing? But some of it is like, if you could do this again, what would you do differently? And how do you get to that point where you make a different decision when you're in a high stress situation?
Under duress.
And under duress. And we all know under duress, we go to ingrained behavior, right?
Yeah.
How does this decision that's bad here become a good decision in the NFL?
Right.
It's funny because, like, if I were having a conversation with Sam Howell 2 years into his NFL career, former teammate of Drake Maye's at North Carolina, I'd look at that end zone interception they threw in New England like, dude, what are you doing?
What's going on?
What are you seeing here, man?
Right.
Yeah, there are some plays with Drake Maye. It's like, what are you looking at?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not concerned about the positive things that this quarterback can do. And even though he's perceived to be falling, there's an awful lot of positives about Drake Maye. There isn't a throw on the field that he doesn't have the arm talent to make. He's talking about a guy who's can see no problem seeing over the line. He can make the throws at all the ranges. He can do the on rhythm, on time stuff. Probably needs to have the footwork cleaned up a little bit. Every shred of evidence on Drake Maye is that he's teachable, so I'm not really concerned about that.
What about the concerns with Bo Nix? The Broncos interviewing the Oregon quarterback that we saw at the Senior Bowl, and he was, average or disappointing to me.
Actually, I'll start with his Senior Bowl film. Okay? I'll throw on some of those practice reps that we talked about. Again.
It's a good place to start.
Well, yeah.
And you've seen all the film from Oregon. You already know what he can do with the tunnel screens and all that.
I want to know, I want to throw on the All-22 and ask it when this happened multiple times, he doesn't make the commitment to scramble.
We're back. Wi-Fi went out. We're back. We're still
You want me
rolling.
to start that again?
No, because it's still rolling.
Okay. Well, I want to know about the decision-making process. I want to know if, when he looks back on it, what would you do differently when you see this coverage here? Because that is a concern that I had watching him. Again, as we said, as we have said repeatedly on this show, the structure of the practices in Mobile didn't do him any favors. But if this is going to work, especially early while he's learning how to process things at the highest level, I'm okay with him taking off and running faster. You know, the worst thing you can do is delay the decision. It's okay to scramble. It's okay to go first read, second read, not
Go.
there, take off, because you're making a decision. You know, if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice, as those poets from Toronto told us. You know, Geddy Lee and Friends with Rush. And too often, because Bo Nix was seeming to struggle processing things during practice in Mobile, he wasn't making a decision quick enough. So that's something I want. I'll start there. Yeah, with Bo Nix, I'll start there. The decision-making process. How about you?
I know for me, it's just making plays under pressure or making NFL reads.
Dun 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 dun.
You
dun.
can't do tunnel screens all day. You know, that's going to have to change. Making multiple reads, full field reads, and then so now we're back again. So what do you do ahead of the snap? That's the most important thing. When the ball is snapped, you should not be adjusting to what the defense is doing. You should have already anticipated what the defense is doing. And I know I started with J.J. McCarthy, but do you have any specific thoughts there about J.J. and his time interviewing with the Broncos?
I want to know. I'd like to know what he feels like he would have gotten if he'd gone back to Michigan for another year. You know, we're going through these, and he's the one that you say probably, if he having the option of more seasoning, could have had that. What do you, you know, how does your growth continue in a scenario where you're probably going to be watching in year one? What are you taking from that? And actually, another thing is, he's growing, but he's growing into somebody you want to be a leader. How do you show leadership and support if you are the understudy for a full year? Mm-hmm. How does that manifest? Because what you want a harmonious situation, and you just want to make sure on that. And I think J.J. McCarthy will do fine. The other thing I want to know from this, part of it is this. I want to know what he learned from Jim Harbaugh. When I'm talking specifically, I'm going to ask him, what did you learn from when Jim Harbaugh reamed you out? Mm-hmm. Because, and this is where it's relevant, Jim Harbaugh is notoriously hard on his quarterbacks. Sean Payton is notoriously hard on his quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. What do you learn from being in that fire?
From taking a chew it, do you hear the message? Do you understand the message?
You have to learn how to take it.
And you got to learn how to take it. And for me, another thing I'd ask him is like, what about going up against that defense? That defense made Michael Penix, before that game, Michael Penix was a possible top 10 pick. After that game against Michigan,
second rounder now.
It's a tough ass
maybe
defense.
Not even QB6.
How do you develop, and you and I have had this conversation before, but how do you develop as a quarterback when you have to face that brutal of a defense? We usually talk about it in pro terms, like with Russel Wilson, for example. He's going against the Legion of Boom every day. So how do you develop? We talked about it with young passers throughout the Broncos' history. When their defense has been great, it's tough on those young QBs.
Brock Osweiler.
Yes. Yeah. He
famously was getting worked. I mean, Brock Osweiler's first season, he walks in and you got Chris Harris Jr. and Tracy Pick Six Porter and of course, the future Hall of Famer and Champ Bailey. 2 years later, you're looking out there and you're seeing Chris Harris Jr. and Talib coming in. Talib, I think, another future Hall of Famer.
Yes, yeah, should be.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you learn? Yeah. What are you getting out of that? All right. Let's move on. Like Pratt, Tulane University.
Well, they've talked to him 3 times now, and we got to explain formal
But this is
versus
going to be
informal.
Yeah.
Because there are informal meetings here, but there's formal meetings, and these are formal meetings.
This is part of the 45.
Yeah.
45 that you're limited on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Quarterback, if you keep 2 quarterbacks on the roster, it's 4% of your 53, and it's 18% of your meetings here. You're looking, yeah. That's what it's all about.
Why do you need to talk to Michael Pratt 3 times?
This is Sean Payton's first time talking to him in person.
Okay.
Because Sean Payton was not down there
At the Senior Bowl.
At the Senior Bowl.
Rager was there. We'll keep calling him Rager. So Rager was there. George Payton wasn't there.
By the way, Rager was sitting right next to Sean Payton.
Camera shot during the drills at the
today,
combine.
the D-line drills today, and Razor's right there next to Payton.
Where was George?
Well, it was a tight shot. I mean, he's probably in the suite behind him, Cecil.
Okay.
I don't think that's the big deal that you think it is.
If I'm watching film with you, I'm sitting next to you. That's just me.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, you like me. You really like me.
Yeah.
As Sally
Although
Field
I
once
guess
said.
to defend George Payton, when we watched Senior Bowl practice, I was several rows behind you.
Okay.
We're in the same section, but I'm right behind
Here's
you.
another thing, okay? They're in suites. The first rows of those suites are just seats, right? But if you sit back, like, behind those 2 rows,
Good table.
you get a table. Me, I'm sitting where there's a table and I have my laptop and I've got the data. So that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
That's more, even though we're sitting here. Yeah, I can see that you've got your laptop. I've got my tablet out on the lap, right? I get it. Other thing on Michael Pratt, Dan Rauschar, of course, is the Tulane offensive line coach who worked for Sean Payton with the Saints for many years.
Right.
Joined Tulane last year. Pratt's talked about how he and Dan, got to know each other, how Dan would tell Sean Payton and Drew Brees stories.
Some good stories, I'm sure.
Yes. I'd say Michael Pratt probably goes into a conversation with Sean Payton more prepared for what to expect than anybody else. I think with Michael Pratt, what I want to know is about the level jump, right? A lot of these other guys were talking about being in the Power 5 Tulane's in the American Athletic Conference. Now, they came up big against SC in the Cotton Bowl last year, but, Caleb Williams did play that game, but as we know, that SC defense...
You mentioned the SC defense,
crap.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm offending anybody to say that. It was crap.
I don't know. You'll be all right if you are.
Objective crap.
If you're offended by this show, you might be offended by our next show. So, more on Michael. Who else we got? Penix, and we got Rattler.
Oh,
right?
Spencer Rattler.
Rattler, and a little more Penix if you want.
As well. Let's talk about. We've talked a lot about Penix, but what are you looking for Penix?
It's just medicals.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. I do want to examine the work ethic issues, if there are any. I don't know how you do that if you're a team. But, how much you like being in the weight room, how much did you work out, like all these sorts of things, because Penix is thin. And I don't like the body type when it comes to 2 bad knees.
I don't know if he can do anything about the lower body type. I mean, look, some of us we have calf muscles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
You're very proud of your calves.
Not proud of a lot of this build, but I'm proud of the calf muscle, right? I took a lot of steps to get those things.
Mm-hmm.
My granddad used to say I had grand legs.
Grand legs.
Like it.
Andrew Mason with grand legs.
Picture that being said by a guy with a Yorkshire accent. Okay, that's my granddad.
Okay. I think Penix could do a little more, but it depends on the medicals.
Yeah.
Like if those knees are shot, do you really want them on the knee machine in the weight room?
I'll tell you what.
Right?
There was that clip that we ran a few weeks ago from his Senior Bowl process where he was actually, I think he was like, what was it? He was asked how he'd beat like a cover 3 beater or something like that.
Yeah.
And he just quickly went through step by step. I mean, Michael Penix Jr. is a very high IQ player. Like, that's actually another thing. The football IQ of these guys is pretty good.
Yeah.
By and large. I think there's going to be some impressive moments in those interviews for all of them. But part of it is, you got these guys that they're working. Some of them are going to the Manning Passing Academy. Someone like Caleb Williams, he's working with Lincoln Riley. Spencer Rattler is involved with the QB Collective, right? So they're getting better football education, quarterback education than they were. And so I think that's going to help them all as they go through this process here.
I know this, and we'll get to Spencer Rattler in a little bit. This decision is going to be tougher than ever for the Broncos. Not just because it's a decision on quarterback and you don't want to miss, but like
it's the most
you've got really good options.
Yeah,
really good.
But
options.
this is why this year is the time to do it, right?
You don't have these options next year.
No,
not even close.
I mean, there's gonna be a conversation we're gonna have that I had with Mike Tenure, and we basically get into that. Like, what's your option if you don't do it this year? Suck and try to get Shedeur Sanders? I got news for you.
It's not great, Bob.
The Broncos are not going 3-14 this year. I don't think with Sean Payton, even if everything is a disaster, they're worse than 6-11.
Yeah.
You saw it last year. They, some of it was luck, but as they say, luck is where preparation meets opportunity. They got better at the margins, which allows you to steal games you wouldn't otherwise win. There's that resourcefulness from the Broncos. It's the same thing that a lot of Bill Parcells' teams had, even when they weren't good or talented. They would, you'd look up and say, well, how did that Patriots team with Parcells win 10 games? How did the Dallas Cowboys, when Quincy Carter at quarterback,
go to the playoffs?
Go to the playoffs. They'd lost. Dallas came into that year with, having not had a winning season in 4 years, right? They go 10-6 with Quincy Carter, go to the postseason. Why? It's because Bill Parcells found ways for his team to succeed on special teams, build up the offensive line, steal games in the margins. Fewer penalties, all that. Playing smart football, right? That's what, and Sean Payton learned that from that. Of all the people who've influenced Sean Payton as a coach, I mean, to me, it does really start with Bill Parcells.
Yeah.
Even though
might even begin and end with
even
Bill
though Parcells is a defensive coach and Sean Payton gets his offensive play calling new from elsewhere in terms of how he runs a team, it's Parcells again.
Right.
And oh, by the way, what he expects of his quarterback. I mean, you remember this. You're old enough to remember this. I am too. Old enough to remember Bill Parcells absolutely MFing Phil Simms in oblivion.
Right.
And we all saw Sean Payton, dog cussing Russel Wilson there on the sideline in Detroit, and Russ just kind of standing there, right? The neutral mindset. Sean Payton is not bothered if you bark back at him.
In fact, I would further that.
I'd say he may
wants you to show some backbone. Not that Russ doesn't have
some
that.
Fight back.
But he wants you to show some fire.
Yes.
And one of the problems that I had with Russell Wilson is just like, dude, it's okay to be emotional. It's okay to show that fire. Russell Wilson is incredibly competitive, but he does this neutral thing, which honestly probably made Sean Payton madder when the guy's not reacting to you, right? You're yelling at him, you're dog cussing him, and he's just like.
But that's also where you build a lot of trust when it gets ugly like that.
Yeah.
It gets ugly. You get real.
I can yell at you, you can yell at me. We can.
Sounds
be okay.
like the real world. People stop being polite and start
True
being
story.
Real. Gosh.
That's the only thing I remember from the real world.
What?
The true story part. Because it was the country guy, remember? He's like, the true story, in the intro.
See, the only part
show.
I remember is the intro.
Yeah, and they said, true story.
Yeah.
Here's the true story. True story.
Yeah.
So, that's it. Remember MTV? Are we going member berries now? Remember MTV?
We haven't talked about Spencer Rattler yet.
Let's talk about Spencer Rattler.
Okay. I want to dive into the moments of personal growth and humility on Spencer Rattler.
Okay.
The thing that I got from him at the Senior Bowl was that this is clearly not the same person that first burst onto the spotlight when he was followed for the, for the QB1 documentary.
Yes.
Right?
Netflix.
Right. And then I want to get into the film because there's some decisions.
He bird dogs too much.
Yeah, there's some decisions.
Hey, there's my receiver. That's my receiver.
Yeah.
Defense is moving, but there's my receiver. I'm throwing to this guy, everybody. Look at this guy.
He does lock on to one person.
It's a bird dog.
Yep, exactly. I want to dive into that. That's Spencer Rattler was another guy where I'm turning on the tape and saying, Spence, what are you seeing here?
What are you doing?
Yeah.
You know what I would turn on? This might be a little weird.
The worst tape or the best tape? I mean, if you want to do him a solid, you turn on the Tennessee tape in 2022. The very sad night for Hendon Hooker when he got injured,
Right,
which probably
right.
took him out of the first round conversation.
By the way, Hendon Hooker is better than Spencer Rattler. He's better than Michael Pratt. I'd almost push that he's better than Bo Nix. Like, Hendon Hooker, if healthy, is a first round level quarterback. Lions got a
Okay.
smoke and steal.
All right.
Smoke and deal there.
Well, then let me ask you this:
Sure.
Hendon Hooker in Detroit, playing for Dan Campbell,
Yes.
friend of Sean Payton,
Yes.
protege of Sean Payton. A little bit different demeanor, but doing a lot of the Sean Payton things. And
Peyton like.
yeah, he's. I mean, basically, there's a pretty like Parcells, Payton, Campbell. That's a pretty strong kind of generational coaching tree there. What would you give up for Hendon Hooker?
What would Campbell take? Because, you're talking third rounder. If you don't have a second rounder, so there's that. I mean,
If you
would
don't
Campbell want to give up on him?
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Did Goff do enough for them to be like, we can move forward with him, or is Goff at his total ceiling?
Hypothetical.
Yeah. You got
don't-
all your picks.
If you don't have a quarterback coming out of round one, would you try to trade for Hendon Hooker?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. 1,000%. For sure.
Trade a second round pick for Hendon Hooker?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. I would do it. I think you would do it too. But you know what I would do?
I
with
like
Spencer Rattler?
I like me some Hendon Hooker.
I like me
do.
some Hendon Hooker too.
I liked him at Virginia Tech. I thought he got done completely wrong by Justin Fuente, who wanted a more traditional quarterback rather than the guy who actually had feel for the pass rush, could make all the throws. Yeah. But
what?
he wanted a drop back guy. I mean, whatever. Give me the player, right? I don't know how that still bothers me. Like how Justin Fuente could look at that 2019 Virginia Tech tape and say, "Oh, I want somebody other than Hendon Hooker." That's why Justin Fuente got his rear end fired, right?
Remember,
Yeah.
egos on the field one thing, egos up top are even larger.
Yeah.
Here's what I would do with Spencer
By the way,
Rattler.
Justin Fuente also helped foist Paxton Lynch on the NFL.
There you go. Thanks for that. So, here's what I would do with Spencer Rattler. And I'm going to bring up a name that is controversial, but I'm going to bring it up in this reference, in this context.
There's a lot of controversy from this show, I think.
I think so.
If
yes.
people really parsed out this and started clipping this up.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to go John Gruden on him with film. And I'm going to put on quarterback one. I'm going to put on Netflix. I'm going to
Okay.
say, who is this guy? Who is this guy? Are we getting this guy or are we getting the guy in front of me? Like, who are you? You seem different now, but what happened to this guy? Where did he go? How did that change? Because when he was on Netflix as a high schooler, we were
Okay.
all different in high school.
Are you like showing his faults, basically?
Yes, yes. And I would
Okay.
say this, if you and I knew each other in high school, we probably wouldn't have gotten along. And that's more on me than you, but just my different personality from when I was 18
Mhm.
and pig-headed and stubborn and naive and I won't say nescient, I'll say ignorant.
Hey, I would say, like, there are some significant and valuable, people in my life that if I had met them at another time, it might not have worked out.
And
the
that might
same.
have meshed. Right?
Yes.
Chemistry, we talked about earlier.
So
That's what I would do with
Okay.
Spencer Rattler. I'd say, what happened to this guy? Where
here's-
did that guy go?
Here's how I'm picturing it. I know you haven't seen this.
There's some baseball.
I've
thing.
mentioned it. No, I've mentioned this movie before.
Oh.
It's the 1991 film with Albert Brooks and Meryl Streep called Defending Your Life. And the premise is that when you die, you go to this place called Judgment City, and you sit there for a few days, and they show films of your life, and you're asked to kind of rationalize them because they're trying to determine if you go on to the next plane of existence or get sent back to Earth for another try. Okay? And so that's kind of what I'm picturing here. Like, you're sitting there, like, in the comfy chair, they're showing, they're showing this, like, okay, who is this person?
You got the clicker.
Yeah.
Let's rewind that again.
And you know what? That might be a really uncomfortable thing, but it's also an opportunity.
Yep.
For Spencer Rattler to kind of, answer some pointed questions. That is one thing. Like, he's got that out there, and I think any discussion about Spencer Rattler for 2 or 3 years focused on QB1.
Yes.
And I'd say there's that, and then he truly is different. The Oklahoma benching for Caleb Williams against Texas in the Red River Showdown, that changed him. The benching, having a transfer to South Carolina and really start over again at, it's a major program, but in the SEC, South Carolina is a B-level program, right? It's not Oklahoma. It's not Alabama, right? South Carolina's distinction is that they probably raise more money per win than any school in FBS.
There you go.
And they have an absolute kick-ass intro, especially at night when they play the theme from 2001 and do like a little light show and all that.
Dun, 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 dun.
It's up. Yeah, at night, it's awesome. That's
Okay.
you go through like intros around college football. There's Enter Sandman at Virginia Tech.
Of course, yeah.
The 2001 at South Carolina. The smoke in Miami,
What, The Rock and Clemson?
Frank Howard's Rock. Yeah, come run down the hill, touch Frank Howard's Rock as you
Yep.
run on the field.
Yep.
And then, of course, I can't say great intros without saying frickin' Ralphie leading
Of course.
the Colorado Buffaloes on the Folsom Field.
Right. Beautiful and wonderful, man.
The thing about Ralphie is that's good day or night. South Carolina, it loses punch when they're playing a noon game. You want that 2001 intro at 7 or 7:30 p.m. So early in the season, it's it's golden hour, sunset. Late in the season, it's pitch black. And actually, I'll reference the Tennessee South Carolina game of 2022 for a second time because I remember watching the intro, like just rewatching that, and how jacked that Williams-Brice Stadium was, and I thought Tennessee is not getting out of here unscathed. Just a feeling you got, right? And that was a good night for Spencer Rattler. And one of the reasons why we're having that conversation about Spencer Rattler being back in the good graces. Another reason we're having that conversation is of the quarterbacks at the Senior Bowl, he was the one who had the best upward trajectory over the course of the week. First day, awful. Was basically at the bottom of my list first day. Third day, was right there at the top. And that's a good sign as well because it shows he's ingesting, processing, and applying teaching.
I will quote
Teachable.
a movie that we don't really quote a whole lot, but I do. Do we know Mo?
Which
Sweet
one?
Home Alabama.
I don't know that film.
Momentum. Spencer Rattler's got momentum.
I know Uncle Mo. That was like a Dick Vitale thing. Uncle
That's
Bo's
Uncle Bo,
with
baby.
the Uncle Bo's with the Hoyas, baby, or whoever.
You know what I've got right now? Hunger pangs.
Dude, our Harry and Izzy's reservation isn't until 7:45 Eastern. So you got another hour and 24 minutes there, bud. And I got another story to finish here. So
Okay. Well,
we got some work
wrap
to do,
this
and we got to
thing up.
post this thing.
Yes, and this is a 45-minute episode.
Holy crap!
Yeah, we're
I
some
think
chatty
we
blankers.
broke all the YouTube rules on this.
Yeah, but
Because
that's
it's supposed to be
what
20
minutes
minutes.
about.
It's supposed to be 20 minutes.
Nothing more than 20 minutes. But
Nothing more than feelings.
feelings. People like the longer shows. Most people like us being silly. If you don't, watch our regular show. Okay, we got you.
Hey.
We got you. We got plenty of content. We got interviews coming up with smart football people. We've got player
Smarter
clips
than
on our
us.
shorts, right? On our YouTube shorts. Like, check it out. Like, we're here for you.
And we got a lot of quarterback stuff coming tomorrow.
I'm a Leo. Okay, so I'm a bit egotistical. We have the best Broncos coverage. Of
I'm a
any digital
Cancer. I'm
channel.
crabby.
So we're a lion and a crab.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like what was the journey? What was that book about the dog and the cat that went across the journey across the country? Long journey, American journey, something.
I don't know. I remember Travels with Charlie, where Steinbeck rode across the country with his dog.
Okay.
Read that. Read that when I was in high school. I actually have a original printing of
Favorite
Travel
book
with
of all
Charlie.
time.
One of my, it's not the Steinbeck book that people would think of, but it was an influential book on me because I've got a little bit of a wanderlust. I like to roam around. I like to travel. Like I enjoyed driving from, Madison, Wisconsin, where I was for about 10 days before I came down here, and coming to the combine. I enjoy being here. I'm going to enjoy being in Florida for the league meetings. I'm going to enjoy being back in Colorado for a couple of weeks this coming month, right? I mean, I enjoy the wandering.
There you go. Is
There's
that a wrap?
something philosophical in that, I guess. I don't know.
I don't
think
know.
it's a wrap.
Somebody said yesterday in our comments, please be nice. Somebody said like a sleep-deprived male version of The View. I was like, yeah, this is what 18-hour days look like, and we're doing it for you.
Is that a problem?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
What's wrong with The View? It's been on for a long time.
No, we're not going to start on that conversation, but
A lot of people watch it. I mean,
hey.
I wouldn't mind having a show that ran that long. I mean, I can live with that. Some of the more
somebody asked
pointed
me,
discussions.
it might have been Spivak or somebody, I can't remember. It was like, but it's popular. And I was like, just because it's popular doesn't mean it's good.
Well, that's the fast food theory.
Right.
A lot of fast food is popular doesn't mean it's good.
Well, we are not the fast food of Broncos coverage. We're here with the meat and potatoes and everything.
But it's also
steak.
It's. I like to think it's barbecue, because if you do it right, you gotta slow smoke that stuff.
Okay. Smoke it.
A
slow.
pit, a pit that you dig into the ground, right? You ever seen some of those true barbecue pits?
Dude, I'm Mexican, of course.
Okay.
I've cut slices off the whole hog.
Yeah.
From
Oh,
the
that's
pit.
what we would do, like at our family reunions in North Carolina. We'd like a whole hog roast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Pulled pork, vinegar based, again, Eastern North Carolina, so it's vinegar based sauce.
It's good.
It's got some kick to it as well. Give me a vinegar based sauce. It's got a lot of red pepper in it.
I don't like food that hurts me. You and the dang St. Elmo's shrimp, man.
I'm
This
having
guy's
it again
going at
tonight.
it, and his freaking eyes are watering. He's sneezing. It was just like.
Some things in life have to be a visceral experience. From pain.
Why do you want food that hurts you?
From pain comes pleasure.
And on that note, help us out on YouTube, okay? We're doing this for you. We love you guys. We appreciate you all.
We are the Broncos shuffling crew.
Shuffle on down.
Doing it for you. We're so bad, we know we're good. Blowing your mind like you knew we would.
What does Sweetness say? He's like, running the ball is like
making romance.
Doing OBT is like making romance.
Oh my gosh. This really went to another level in the last 60 seconds.
Dude, it's now a 50-minute show. We were supposed to wrap at 45. We were supposed to wrap at 30, but
I had a feeling it was going to take a while on this.
well, when we wanted to go through, they're interviewing everybody, every quarterback. Okay, they're not keeping Russ. Everybody, stop! I don't need the.
Who's saying they're keeping Russ at this point?
I don't want to get into it.
God.
I still hear people saying, "Are they keeping Russ?" No.
Are they trading him? No. There's no momentum for a trade either.
It's done.
Okay,
it's done.
He's going to be cut. That's it.
All right. You know what else is it?
The show we've hitting it.
We've hitting it.
Okay.
Make sure to help us out on YouTube by
like, comment, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you never miss a vid. It's pretty good.
He's Mace. I'm Cecil. Give me a fist bump, buddy.
That's fun.
Boom.
Let's do this again tomorrow after we actually talk to these guys some more.
Oh,
we've talked to a bunch of
quarterbacks.
Yeah, we talked to Spencer Rattler, we talked to Michael Pratt, we talked to Bonix, we talked to Michael Penix Jr, we talked to Joe Milton, Bazooka Joe. Don't call him that.
Yeah.
But now we get to have a few questions for Drake Maye, and maybe it's going to be those press conferences are going to be zoos.
Yes.
Tomorrow.
When we're going to have to split up. Because it could be like, you're talking to Maye, I'm talking to Jayden.
Yep.
Like, okay, we'll bring it to you.
I've got the Drake Maye transcript, so I have to be there for that whole thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
My job for the PFWA this week.
Yeah.
One of them, anyway.
I'm doing my part. I ain't doing. I can't finish that quote. Anyway, he's Mace, I'm Cecil. OBT is BFD. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned and stay frosty.